7th of November 2006.
I've mentioned it about 8 times. You know, I wouldn't even know that. But yeah, that was as a one-off game that will never be beaten. It can't be beaten. To have 100% record against Sir Alex, that's never getting beaten because he's not managing anymore. So no one can beat my record of that.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic night. I thought we played ever so well. I've only ever watched it once back, but it was a fantastic evening. Obviously, Ronaldo and Rooney, they had a good side. And initially, when I saw the team sheet, I was thinking, and I said to Brushy, Christ, just because we weren't going great in the league, and I thought, Christ, we don't want to get beat 8 or 9-0. And obviously, we scored early, and I said to Brushy, we might have scored too early here. But we played really well on the day. And don't get me wrong, they had a few opportunities. My goalkeeper, Daryl Flahaven, who, again, probably the smallest keeper. and nowadays, would people take him? Not so sure. He must have been 5'10", 5'11". He had a fantastic 2 or 3 seasons with us. And on that night, he pulled off a couple of really good saves to keep us having a clean sheet. But what an evening.
Best night of your...
Yeah, I think as a one-off game, that has got to be the pinnacle. But following on from that, Sir Alex invited me up to Man United, so and that's why I've got total respect for him. He invited me up, went up to Carrington. I remember going. I met him in the reception. He took me up into his office, and it was a Thursday. And you come out of his office, and they had a European game the following week, and I've never seen so many press in my life. So we walked down his steps, and I was really nervous. Yeah. Walked down the steps, and he walked through the press, and he said, "Come on, Steve." So I walked through. Honestly, I've never seen so many press in my life. Anyway, watched them train. The intensity was incredible. Like they didn't need anyone to say anything. Just their professionalism. And probably the leaders, Gary Neville's, your Ferdinands, and they wouldn't allow that intensity to drop. So watched them train and went back upstairs, had lunch with everyone, and then drove home. So
amazing. That
was a fantastic experience for me as well. Really, unbelievable. And from that day, I've always liked Man United. But as a one-off game, that is. As a one-off moment, I'm going to go for... We scored in the last seconds v Chelsea at Stamford Bridge to get a draw in the FA Cup. That was incredible. We had the whole stand behind that goal.
Yeah.
And Peter, we took a long throw. It got flicked on, and Peter Clark came in at the far post and scored. As a one-off moment, that was incredible. Yeah, they still had time to go up the other end, crossed it, Drogba come in, headed, and Steve Mildenhall, my keeper, made an unbelievable save to keep it at 1-0 and the final whistle went. So as a one-off moment, that was unbelievable.
Any idea what date that was?
Oh, you got that as well.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue.
3rd of January 2009.
Right, I've never got that. Never. But that was, unbelievable.
What did you guys do to celebrate that individually or as a group, to celebrate that victory or to celebrate, the last minute equaliser at Stamford Bridge?
Being an evening game on a Tuesday night, obviously we had a day off on a Wednesday. And as I said, our main aim that year was to stay up in the Championship. So there weren't a lot of time. We had to make sure we was ready for the next game. But what I do remember is, and again, you won't remember this, but there was a programme called The Dream Team.
Okay. I don't think I remember that.
Flipping heck. I've been invited to go on this show. And I'm on this... It weren't long after we beat Man United. Obviously, we beat Man United, and the exposure was quite a lot. And I ended up going on this program. I was totally out of my comfort zone, being filmed, being on this program. And I think there was Andy Answer. There was a few boys that I knew that had been doing it as well. So totally out of my comfort zone on that. But it was purely getting back to business in the league and trying to stay up that year.
Incredible. Amazing. Those are some of the moments that football can produce.
Yeah, unbelievable. Never forget them two moments, or that day and the Chelsea moment.
You take those memories with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure the Southend fans and all the players that were involved and the family members will do as well.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
Fast forward a few years. 17th of April, 2014.
2014. Hold on, let me have a think.
I've got here, voted by the Southend fans as the best ever player and manager to represent the club.
I wouldn't have got that date, but yeah, and I think a lot of that is to do with me being a local person. Yeah. Because I'm not the best player Southend's ever had. You got people like Stan Collymore, Freddie, done a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I had a long time at Southend, but Mark Gower, all went on, Simon France, all went on and played in the Premier League. So, but obviously being a local person at the time, got voted. Manager would be pretty tight. Dave Webb done fantastically well. So I'd like to think it might be out of me and Dave.
Yeah.
Others might say Barry Fry. I disagree.
Excellent. Last couple of dates. 24th of March, 2023.
23?
24th of March, 2023.
Right, I mean, that's Haybridge.
We're both involved in this date.
Is it a playoff?
Not quite.
Go on.
You signed me for Haybridge.
Ah!
we rekindled our partnership, 16 years later.
Yeah.
And obviously it was at the Braintree game that we saw each other.
That's right, yeah.
You remember, I came up, I said, Steve,
yeah,
Miles.
Yeah. No, I remember obviously the game and you played, because I think it was your first game back for a while since your injury.
Yeah.
And it was a good game. I think it was a competitive game that night. And I do remember it well.
Yeah.
And then, got you over. And to be, I say, even at Haybridge, I had two, for me, really enjoyable years. Yeah. And again, built a really good team spirit. And just disappointed that not the way it ended, because that was my choice of leaving, but there was, I think that was the third or fourth wage cut, pay cut for our budget in 2 years. And I wanted to keep the side together because I felt the side were good enough to get promoted. And we got in the playoff final the first year. The second year, if it weren't for the amount of injuries that we had and not being able to bring players in when they were injured, I think we would have certainly got in the playoffs, no doubt about it. So obviously getting that wage cut, and for me a few other issues regarding the old, a previous chairman that didn't probably sit right with me. And I'm not going to go into it, but I just felt it was the right time that I left.
How has it been for you? Obviously, I know we speak often. How have you been being out from, being away from managing? Because I know how passionate you are, and your whole career, your whole life, more or less, you've been in the game. So how do you cope with that?
I mean, I'm so busy anyway. I'm full time at a college, run a football academy, really enjoy my job. And then I'm coaching Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every evening, Saturday mornings, and then going out watching games on a Saturday afternoon. So really haven't got time to, to dwell on it. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I miss the Saturdays and the Tuesday nights around the dressing room. And it takes time to build a side. And that's the disappointing thing for me. I thought we had we built a good side with a really good team spirit. I didn't think there was any bad apples in our side, which, a lot of teams have to contend with. But I thought we was going the right way. And yeah, I'll be honest, it was a tough decision. I'm gutted to have left. I was gutted to have left the players that I left behind, because some really good people in that dressing room, and that was the annoying thing for me, having to go.
We were absolutely gutted as well.
Yeah,
really
no,
gutted.
I was, and I look at their results, and hopefully they do well, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Is that all your dates?
I've got one last one.
Okay,
last one.
I bet you've missed one.
I've probably. Hold on, what have you got for us?
So the only other one I've done, which was, I don't know what the date is though.
Okay, go on. What have I missed?
But I was assistant manager with Peter Taylor for England under-21s.
Incredible.
In a qualifying game against Moldova. Ray Wilkins, I think, was out of the country, who was Peter's assistant. And obviously I knew Pete, and I was going well with Southend, and Pete asked me if I would be alongside him, and a fantastic opportunity for us. We had a team training at Five Lakes in Malden, and we ended up, we had to play Moldova at Portman Road. We ended up beating them, I think it was 2-0 to qualify. So for me, that was great for me.
Involved
as well.
With England, incredible.
Yeah, that was tremendous.
You've done it all.
Yeah. So that was a great experience for me.
Proud moment.
Being around all them, them fantastic players.
Do you remember some of the players that were involved in that?
Yeah, Rio Coker, Theo Walcott, Scott Carson, Anton Ferdinand, Dave Nugent.
Yeah, striker.
James Milner.
Yeah. He's still playing today.
He's
unbelievable.
What a professional. Unbelievable. And by the way, I beat him at table tennis.
Okay.
At Five Lakes. Just to put that one in there.
Make sure we don't cut that.
Yeah. I remember for charity, because Rio Ferdinand was giving it that he was a good table tennis player. And I offered him, or someone set it up, that a week of his salary against a week of mine for charity.
Yeah.
Whoever loses had to pay. And he backed out.
You're joking?
No, he backed out.
He obviously heard what you'd done to James Milner.
Yeah, maybe. But that would have been great as well, because he was on about £100 a year, and I was on £2.50 a week. So that would have been a great. That would have been I'd love to. That
it would have been great only if you'd have won.
I'd have won. Don't worry.
Yeah, I believe that. And lastly, fast forward to this week, 10th of September, 2024.
10th of September.
Tuesday. This Tuesday. So
this Tuesday?
4 or 5 days ago. Yeah.
Blimey. What did I do last Tuesday?
Maybe you don't know.
No, I don't.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, go on.
So you were added to the Blues Lounge mural.
Oh, don't even go down that route. I got shown it yesterday. It's the worst picture of me I've ever seen in my life.
Oh no!
Have you seen it?
I have seen it.
Oh my God! It looks terrible. I'm gutted.
Oh, but you're up there.
Well, I'm up. Yeah, but flipping it. One night, I look terrible.
Have you told him?
I only found... Someone sent me it last night. I was devastated. They went, Adam Barrett looks all right. I went, I ain't worried about Adam Barrett. It is dreadful. And I will be saying something. I'm sure they won't change it, but there you go.
Let me know how you get on.
Flipping heck.
Out of all of those moments that we've discussed there, pivotal moments in your career as both player, manager, what would you say is your proudest moment and why?
In my football career?
Actually, we'll have in your football career and then also from outside.
I mean, from outside, obviously, my children.
Yeah.
Football, I mean, as a one-off, yeah, but I think it's got to be, as a manager getting promoted to the Championship, winning League One has got to be. That's got to be. And as a player, winning League One, but winning the trophy for Canvey was a special occasion for me.
Yeah.
Really special. Yeah, I think I'd go with them.
Steve, do you have, or what would be the funniest story that you have for us, either from playing days or managing days, that wouldn't necessarily be known, that you could share?
I think managing, Freddie Eastwood, and we had a lad called James Lawson.
Okay.
And they was having a bit of banter over training, etc., etc. And I remember we had a reserve game at Roots Hall that James was playing in. And while he was playing, Freddie got his keys and filled his car up with fish. So, I mean, the initial smell is not great, but you can imagine how long that smell lasts.
You can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it. So James obviously has come out after the game, and like his car is full of fish.
Wow.
And I think that's one of the funniest stories, I think, because Laws for months couldn't get rid of the smell.
Oh my God. How did that end? How did that, how did
No, they were good as gold.
Oh, they were fine?
Fine, good as gold. Good as gold. James, to be fair, weren't the brightest tool in the box, although he's doing well with his work career-wise. So, but yeah, no, all ended fine. All ended fine. So that was all good.
Football banter, I suppose.
Football banter. But again, like we talk about banter. Nowadays, you've got to be so careful.
Yeah.
Because people take it the wrong way, and then it goes higher, doesn't it? And the next thing you know, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Especially at college.
Yeah.
Like with my football boys, it's got to be so careful.
Yeah, it's true.
With banter and everything else nowadays.
I don't know if you notice, I'm always conscious and aware of that. And even at Haybridge, like we used to play, worst trainer, vote for the worst trainer and that.
Yeah.
I'm always wary of how will that person take that. And even though everyone's laughing and joking and it's fun and games, they might be in a moment where they're actually mentally fragile, and then they might take that home with them. And they might take that into the game with them on a Saturday. Now we've lost a player. Yeah. Because he's, so what, do you think that's different nowadays to how it was?
I think it is. I mean, like I said, I'm a lot older than you, but I can't remember many mental health issues when I was a player. Were we stronger then? I don't know. Was it around then? I don't know. But nowadays, everyone seems so fragile.
What was the difference? Was it just head down, get on with it?
Just get on with it.
Just get on with it.
Listen, I'm not saying we were right. I'm not saying that nowadays them, whoever it is, man, woman, are wrong. But got to be so careful now. I mean, at the college now, we used to, you used to pick two captains.
Yeah.
Now I don't do that because the last one to get picked.
Yeah.
So, but back when we, that was just the normal thing. But yeah, I think times have changed. There's no doubt about it. But as I say, I can't remember them issues when I was a kid. I mean, was it because I was too scared to say anything? I don't know. But you know, whether you get repercussions from your parents, you know, come on, get on with it on that. But it does seem to, it's definitely changed. There's no doubt about it. And as I said, in a dressing room now, if you know, you've got to be careful who you, not dig out, but even constructive criticism now. You know, you've got to be really, really wary who you're speaking to, because some players can't take it.
Yeah.
And they crumble.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Why that is nowadays, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, things are a lot more broadcast nowadays. But I don't know. I do feel a little like we've gone a bit too far with it at times. And we give, we almost give people that, not that option, but I don't know what I'm trying to get over. I've got to be careful what I say as well, because, you know, people might take it the wrong way. But mental health issues, you know, they're certainly a big part in today's world. But yeah, were they? I don't know. I'm not sure whether they were around. Were they around when I was playing? I don't know.
Maybe, but
maybe
people weren't aware of it.
Yeah,
aware of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So obviously, you know, that's a lot of the work I do with the boys as well.
Yeah.
I think it's finding that balance between, you know, feeling comfortable to speak out and be open, but then also being strong to do the work as well.
Yeah. I mean, I can't ever think of a time where I had, as growing up, had any issues where, you know, I felt that bad that I was going to do something. Yeah. But that's not to say they weren't around at the time. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a tough world out there at the moment. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. For sure. For sure. That's why I'm glad I'm as old as I am. So I ain't got to go through all that again.
A bit of a quick fire round. Best friend in football.
Best friend in football. Oh, that's a tough one. That is tough. Best friend. I mean, look, it was Danny Greaves, but he's moved to Spain, and
your ex-assistant.
Yeah. I've always Danny. You know, Danny was the manager at Whittam. I've always been in and around Dan. I've worked with Dan at college. Got him a job there. But like I say, he's moved to Spain now, so obviously I don't see him. I've got a number of friends, but, you know, I mean, listen, Chris Smith at Heybridge, I get on fantastically well with. I speak to him every other day, even now. Done a fantastic job recruitment-wise at Heybridge at a time where I didn't know the level. So, you know, I speak to him every other day. He's done a fantastic job, but he's moving to Spain. It must be me. It must.
I'll be moving to Spain next. Anyone that you've fallen out with?
I'm not really. I don't really fall out with people. Yeah. No, I can't. I wouldn't say there's any one in particular person that I've, you know, disappointed with Barry Fry because the way I felt I got treated, but I wouldn't say I've fallen out with him. I think I've got older and wiser, and, you know, again at Heybridge, I didn't like the certain couple of things, but I haven't fallen out. I just don't. I don't talk to anyone there now. Yeah. Simple as that.
Simple as that. Favourite club?
Southend. But
obvious one.
But my team I support is Leeds. Dad's not from up Yorkshire, but he supported them from the 70s. Had a fantastic side. Billy Bremner, Peter Lorimer, Paul Madeley. I can go through the whole team. That fantastic, and I've supported them ever since. Whatever league they've been in, they're the team. And that was difficult when we went to Leeds away in the Championship. people ask me who I
Who?
want to win.
Who did you want to win?
Well, I wanted us to win, and
Yeah.
we frigging lost.
Oh. Favorite manager
Favourite, what that I've played for?
that you've played for?
Dave Webb.
Dave Webb. He took you from Whittam and then to Southend.
Yeah,
and then to
no. So Dave was at Southend, wasn't he? So
Yeah.
he was at Southend, and he took me to Brentford. I mean, he gave me the opportunity to play professional football. So, and he, yeah, I mean, I played a lot of games for him. So I'm going to go Dave Webb. And on the other side of it, Glenn Pennyfather. I've got a great relationship with Glenn at Canvey. Glenn was a fantastic player for Southend himself. Played for Crystal Palace. But again, you know, you knew where you stood with Glenn, and he went out and let you play.
Yeah. Favorite player that you've managed?
Favourite player that I've managed? Easiest player that I've managed, Adam Barrett.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great professional, leader, does everything right.
Yeah.
Great career, done great for me. Went on and played for Gillingham and Crystal Palace. I mean, it's difficult, a one-off. You know, Kevin has been around Southend, you know, nearly all his life, and done fantastic for me as a skipper. But yeah, I'll go Adam Barrett.
Conversely, least favourite or perhaps most difficult player to manage?
Most difficult player was Michael Ricketts.
Wow.
I didn't bring him in.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Chairman brought him in. Turned up first day at Boots and Laces training ground in a Bentley, which weren't fantastic.
Must have been the only one in that car.
Oh, without a doubt. Chairman obviously give him a decent deal. I'll never forget, we was at Boots and Laces. It was pouring down with rain. We was doing a possession-based game, and Michael was walking. And I said to Brushy, "What? He's walking around. It's pouring down with rain. The lads are working their socks off. He's walking around." I said, "Ain't great for team spirit, this." I said, we're gonna have to have a chat with him.
Yeah.
So I had a chat with him, and he said his argument was, "You haven't got to run around in football all the time." Right? That was his argument. And from that day, I went to the chairman. I said, "You've got to get him out." We didn't have the best side in the world. We had a great team spirit, but he came in, and I felt it was gonna interrupt everything that we got. So eventually, the chairman, I don't like saying got rid of him, but he moved on.
Yeah. Incredible. Like, again, to come back to that, to the team dynamic, the environment that you created, that you built, you recognise immediately, you know, you can't allow one player. It only takes one, right?
Yeah, it only takes one. You've probably experienced it as well as a player. Yeah. It only takes one, and that can mess up everything.
Yeah, for sure. Favourite goal you ever scored?
Favourite goal? Oh, 2. Home to Sunderland, volley, and home to Grimsby at Christmas time. I enjoyed that one as well. So, they're 2 that stand out for me.
Both left foot?
Right foot Sunderland. I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw one more in there.
Good.
It was on the telly. 3-3 draw v Millwall at home. It was. I'm going to say an overhead kick. It weren't. It was close to it.
Was it? Yeah.
I'll have
to go and see that one. Do you think you can find that on YouTube?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I watch it every day.
Do you? You have to send me it. Wait. Send me it later. I'll give it a watch. Favorite goal that you celebrated as a manager? Chelsea one?
Yes. Yeah.
Favorite game as a player and then as a manager?
Favorite game as a player would have been the Bury game, because of obvious reasons. That's a really tough one. That as a player, it would have been. Do you know what? I don't even know we played, but it would have been getting promotion from League Two to League One. That's how bad my memory is. I can't even remember that. What was the other one?
And then as a manager, favourite game?
Favourite game?
Yeah.
Man United.
Man United. Has to be.
Yeah,
Has to be.
definitely.
Interesting question. The best player that you've ever managed who never to fulfil his full potential? One that you look at and you think, he how did he not go on?
Cool, yeah, that's a really good question. There was a lad called, I got him from Chelsea.
Yeah.
A lad called Lee Sawyer.
Lee Sawyer, I remember him, yeah.
And I took him.
What player?
And he was fantastic. I can't believe he never went on and pushed on. So he's got to be up there, because a lot of my boys, Mark Gower went to Swansea. Kev was captain and stayed at Southend and had a great career. Adam Barrett, Palace. Freddie went on and played for Wolves and Coventry. Simon Francis went to Bournemouth. So there was a number of them that went on and played higher. But I think Lee was one that I think could have, for whatever reason, didn't, but could have pushed on and played at Premiership.
Really interesting. Best piece of advice you've ever been given in football, perhaps from a manager?
Probably one that I give everyone: enjoy your football and work hard. Yeah. If you got them two things, I don't think you go far wrong. Yeah. And it's hard to, don't get me wrong, it's easy to say enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's easy to say enjoy, but if you don't enjoy it, you're not gonna want to play. Yeah. But you've got to work hard. I think you've got to be dedicated.
Yeah. For sure.
You see so many players that have got all the ability in the world, but if that dedication's not there, I mean, you've only got to look at Ronaldo and Messi. Yeah. They're the best players that have ever been alongside maybe Maradona, in my opinion. But Christ, they're still playing.
Even now.
That's dedication.
And training as hard, if not harder, than everyone else.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
So I think, having that dedication to work hard that's my number one.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you the next question, best piece of advice you've ever given, which would be?
Yeah, it would certainly be that.
Sum up non-league football in one word.
Oh. Crazy. It is. It's crazy. I mean, again, with non-league football, another thing that on the management side of it, you boys are going out and you're working 8:30 till 5 like I am, but I ain't got to go out and perform physically on that training ground and on a match day. So you have to give, you've got to use your brain. Some players are shattered. Yeah. So, and like yourself, travelling at a distance. And I think you've got to use a bit of common sense at times with players. I mean, one rule that I cannot stand in non-league football: you build a side, and it takes a year to build a side. But within that time, I could lose 4 players because some side that's going to give them another £50 a week, you can put a 7-day approach in, and they can go. I think that's absolute mad. I can't believe that's a rule. Yeah. If you sign for a football club, you should have to stay. I'm not saying you've got to stay all year, but at least there should be a window, say, after Christmas for 2 weeks where you can move. And that's the only time. Yeah. I can lose 3 or 4 players for another £10 or £50 a week. Because
some would go for 5.
Some players will go. I didn't have too much of that because I felt that, again, recruitment was great, had some good people there. But if someone offers you another £100, £150 a week, you're going to go.
Yeah, for sure. And on the other side of it, as a player, it's crazy to think that. I mean, I've told you recently what's been going on. I mean, you can't believe some of the stories I tell you. A manager can pick up the phone a week after signing a player and say, "Oh, thanks very much. Sorry, I can't do this anymore. Can't do that. We're gonna have to let you go."
But again, on the flip side, from the players leaving, I think if you have that 2-week window, it works both ways.
Yeah.
For me, if I bring a player in, I believe in that player. And if he doesn't perform, that's down to me because I believed and I brought that player in. So that's down to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work up until back end of Christmas. And if it doesn't work out, that gives me the option that you can move on.
Yeah.
So if you had that 2-week window of both ways, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But I can't bring a player in and after 3 weeks I think, oh, he's no good. I'm going to get rid of him. I don't think I've ever done that at non-league level. I don't think that's right.
But that's going on.
Oh, it goes on all the time.
Yeah.
But that's managers not doing their work or being lazy or whatever. And don't get me wrong, at that level, there's some, for me, there's some,
I'm similar. I see it the same way as you. If I'm a player and I'm signing for a club, I'm signing in my head for the season.
Yeah.
I'm committing to you. You're committing to me. And it's for the season. And that's why these non-contract business and the 7 days and all of that is, like you say, the word crazy.
It's mad. It's mad. I just don't know how you can. And I feel sorry for your sides that haven't got a great budget because as soon as your player's doing well,
he's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Basildon, great start last year, great start this year. But if they, they'll lose 2 or 3 players because their players are doing well and their budget's not fantastic.
Yeah.
We weren't too bad. We had a middle of the road budget.
Yeah.
So it weren't often that you'd lose players, but there are some clubs that are paying crazy money and players will leave.
Yeah.
And for me, got to change the rule. Yeah. I can't believe that rule's in place. It's mad.
Yeah. For all parties involved.
For everyone, for me and for you. Yeah. It's madness.
Mad. Biggest struggles, to come back to that, in football as a player and or as a manager?
Injuries. I think that's... I've never had any major injuries, but I've had like 2 ops on my cartilage. I've had a groin tenotomy where they've got to snip my groin. That again, that year, I think the first promotion, I missed a lot of games through that. I was having suppositories.
Yeah.
I was having to use them to try and numb the pain for games, but it got that bad. I ended up having to have the operation. But injuries, without a doubt. And luckily enough, touch wood, I haven't had any serious injuries. But for people that have had cruciates or broken legs or that type of injury, that's tough. Yeah. That's tough to come back, seeing your mates train and you're in the treatment room. At times you get left alone, don't you?
Yeah.
People are not interested because they can't do anything for you. So I think that for me, that's the biggest, that's the toughest one to get over.
So what coping mechanisms then did you have if you're going through 6 months out, 9 months out? How did you deal with that?
Me personally, that was probably the longest one I've had out, and I was only out 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So not too bad. So it must be tough for anyone that's had a cruciate. I've never been out for 9, 10 months a year. So that's a difficult one for me to answer. But again, I think it's just having that mental dedication to, right, okay, that's happened and I've got to get over it and get back.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the way I felt after only being out 4 to 6 weeks. So I want to get back playing.
Yeah.
Got to get back playing.
Yeah. And as a manager, biggest struggles?
Biggest struggles? Chairman's. Press. No, I think Southend, for instance, we We never got paid for 2 or 3 months. I always said to the chairman, pay me last, because the players are the ones that perform. That was tough. Because you've got to try and keep the players on board.
Yeah.
They haven't been paid. I don't care what job you're in, and we weren't getting paid fortunes of money. If you're not getting paid, you've got to pay the mortgage. So that was really tough. Lincoln, went in there, promised the world money. There was no money. Got a group of players. I'd gone from Southend to Lincoln, and it was total opposite. There was no team spirit, didn't want to play. And that was one of my worst times in my career, travelling. I stayed up in Lincoln without my family. Me and Brushy stayed up there. And that was, I've got to be honest, that was horrendous. And hated every minute of it.
Wow. And like you say, you don't just build that team spirit overnight. That takes time and effort and hours and energy and speaking with people and building that.
It does take time, but also at that level, you need a little bit of help money-wise.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that help. And it was, I had a player who got arrested for nicking a chicken out of Tesco. And that's the sort of thing. And then recently, there's been, I've seen things about match fixing from one of my players.
Wow.
Or from 2 of my players. One was a centre forward, and now I wondered why he couldn't hit a barn door. And 2, one from a defender who's may have been involved in match fixing. You think, what chance you got?
What chance have you got?
But yeah, I mean, it was a tough time up there. Promised a lot, didn't get it, and the players there were just totally the opposite to what I had at Southend.
Yeah, and you'd been at Southend obviously for so long as both player and as a manager.
Yeah,
so to experience something.
I maybe jumped in too early. Should have waited before going there. Because when I was at Southend, Norwich and Norwich and Ipswich wanted to speak to me. And the chairman said to me, if you speak to him, you're gone.
Yeah.
So I stayed loyal to Southend. And then, look what happens. I mean, the time at Southend come to an end. I think the last season, I think we were about 8th at the time.
Yeah.
And we had a committee meeting, a board meeting, and the chairman said, Southampton are looking to take Lee Barnard. And I went, if you take Lee Barnard, we are running the risk of getting relegated. I said that there and then. We was in about 7th or 8th at the time, but he was doing ever so well. A bit like Freddie was scoring goals.
Yeah.
They'd offered 200 grand. He sold him. We got relegated, right?
Which you said.
Which I said was going to happen. So at the end of the season, we was going to be in League 2. Coming up to pre-season, we was about a week away from pre-season. I planned it all, and my mate phoned me up, and he said, "Have you been sacked?" I went, "No." He said, "You're going to be." I went, "What do you mean?" He said, "I've just had a conversation with a bloke in commercial, and he shouldn't have said anything, but you're going to get pulled in." He went, and they've spoken to a new manager. And he told me who it was. This was on a Friday. I said, well, I haven't heard nothing. I get a phone call. It was Saturday, I get a phone call. Can you come in Sunday to the ground? We'll have a chat. So I turns up Sunday, the chairman and the vice chairman, and we went up in the lift. And I thought, I know what's coming.
You know what's coming.
So got up in the lift, went into the office, and chairman said, I think it's time we need a change. I went, Ron, I've got no problem with that if that's what you feel. I said, but what annoys me is I knew, one, you was going to sack me, and two, you've spoke to a new manager and he's coming in. No. He wouldn't have it. In the end, I had a row and told him what I thought.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll tell you something, Ron. The next manager's going to be Paul Sturrock. You know, I went out. He went, no. 2 days later, Paul Sturrock's manager.
Yeah.
And that annoyed me because I had a really good relationship with the chairman. Really good. And for him to do that to me, I would rather him be honest with me.
Yeah, of course.
For me, I felt it was his fault we got relegated that year.
Because he went against your advice.
He went against my advice. I also felt we could have done better in the championship, but obviously funds weren't there. And for him to do what he did, you know, that soured my time at Southend because I felt I didn't feel that was down to me.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's football.
It's incredible, isn't it?
You know.
After all those years of service to then...
Yeah, as a player and as a manager, I felt both ways. I'd been hard done by a little bit, if I'm honest. And yeah, it left a sour taste in me mouth. But it is what it is. And you get up and go again.
Yeah.
But I jumped too quick into Lincoln. Because Ron didn't sack me, put me on gardening leave. Which, unbelievable. So anyway, I ended up going to Lincoln, and it just didn't work out. It was it was a bad time for me, really tough. Being away from home as well,
yeah, of course.
didn't make it any easier, and ended up leaving there. And I actually went and managed Canvey.
Yeah,
I mean that's another story. I mean it must be me. So I went to Canvey, who I'd played for 4 years. We had 2 back-to-back promotions, won the trophy.
Yeah.
And John Batch, who was the chairman now, right? I knew of John before. He said to me, "Would you come and manage Canvey?" And I thought, I didn't really want to do it
because
level.
Yeah.
And if I was looking to get back in, anyway. I did it purely because I played there and I love the club. He said, "Look, I'll give you you can have a contract for life." I went, "John, I don't worry about a contract for life. I'll come in and let's have a go." So I went in. I think we was in a Ryman Prem at the time, and I think we was in the top 3 at the time. Was doing really well, and my budget got cut. One of the 7-day contract, 7-day. One of the players went, and we didn't replace that money. We ended up 7th, so it weren't a bad year. I get a phone call from the chairman. It was a chairman. John weren't a chairman, but John had brought me in. But the chairman phoned me up, and the head of youth. Now this bloke didn't have a Scooby Doo. So I turn up at Canvey. I'm in there. And he started talking. He said, "Got to let you go." I went, "I won't tell you what I said."
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking I'm at Canvey. Yeah. We've come 7th. And I know I've gone mad. I said, "What are you on about? You've got to let me go." He said, "Oh, we're going to make a change." So I'll steam out. I'll get straight on the phone to John Badge, who don't answer the phone, and I'll leave him not a very nice message.
And it takes a lot to get you.
It does. I was fuming, absolutely fuming. I don't know how long. He never come back to me, John. The new manager comes in, and it's one of the directors, his son, never managed before. And I thought, oh my God, this was a massive setup. Just like it now it feels like it was a year stopgap for them to sort this out. And to this day, it just don't sit right with me. And John knows. So yeah, I feel like I keep getting mugged off, if you like to say.
I want to take a moment to acknowledge and stress the importance of mental health and taking care of one's mental health, specifically in professional sports. If you're someone who's currently struggling with your mental health and even your performance, then head over to my website, www.unleashtheplayer.com, for more information on how I can help you to elevate your mental health and take your performance to the next level.
Well, I suppose one incredible positive and a sign of recognition is what we discussed about the fans voting you at Southend. You know, in 2014, they voted you the greatest player and manager ever to play for Southend. So if you're ever worried about a lack of respect or recognition or being mugged off, I don't think. I mean, you certainly weren't in that respect.
No, I love Southend. Still love the football club now. And I've had 2 interviews since, but didn't get with the old chairman. But he picked Sol Campbell and Mark Mosley over me and Adam Barrett, which again, hard one to swallow that was as well. But no, I still love the football club, and you know, Kev was my skipper, and I hope he does fantastically well. And I'm sure they'll have a good season this year in the National League. You know, I'd like to think they'll get promoted this year.
Will you get to go down to see any of the games at all?
Yeah, I've been down, watched a couple of games. They're a strong side, probably lacking a little bit in depth. Kevin knows that. I'm sure he'll look to bring a couple in, but an actual 11, 12, I think, you know, they're probably in the top 3 sides in that league. So I'd like to think that they'll be up and around there at the end of the season. I think they're certainly good enough to do that. Again, you need a little bit of luck, no injuries, or no major injuries. But, you know, it's been, again, even at National League level, Kev's plans out for the season, and all of a sudden, Harry Cardwell goes to Forest Green, their main centre forward. I think they sold him for just over 100,000. So, wow. All your plans going forward that you've made, all of a sudden you lose your main striker. So, you know, it hasn't made it easy for them. But like I say, they've brought in a couple of players. I'm sure they'll be thereabouts at the end of the season.
I hope they do well, and of course you'll have to go back there and see yourself on the mural since they put it.
Yeah. Someone sent me it last night. It's probably the worst looking me I've ever seen in my life. So not too happy about that. But I'll have to pop down there and see it in real life
for sure. And I wanted to ask you as well, your experience in women's football. I mean, you've managed, you know, here, there, and everywhere. Now you've also managed at Basildon Ladies. Yeah.
I had a great time there. Again, I think we had a couple of promotions. We won the Essex Women's Cup 2 years on the trot. Great experience. And again, I think it's just speaking the way you speak to people, especially, you know, obviously women. Yeah. As long as you speak to them the right way, you'll get the right response. But again, recruitment-wise was fantastic. We had some really good girls, really good players. And, we got up to a good level. I mean, West Ham were in our league. We were beating West Ham. But obviously, money talks.
Yeah, of course.
And them sides, West Ham and I think we had, you know, Portsmouth, and they were all in there. But, you know, they're obviously being financed now by whoever. And it's tough. Money does talk. Money doesn't get you promoted, but it goes a long way to being able to get the right players in that you want. Sure. As Man City and Arsenal, Liverpool have recruited really well, but could they do that without the money? No, they couldn't. So money in football, you know, it does talk.
That's all the levels, and even in the women's game. And what did you notice to be the main differences between managing in the men's game as compared with managing in the women's game?
I think the women's side technically is, it was good technically. I think the biggest thing is the physicality side of it. But I think from when I managed, the women's game was pushed on by a long, long way. I mean, England have done fantastically well to win the Euros, and I think women's football's only going to get bigger and bigger. Like I say, would I rather watch women's football than men's at top level? Probably not, because I think the men's game is a lot quicker, and I'd rather watch that. But the women's game has definitely come on by a long, long way since I was managing anyway. And technically, I think there's some fantastic players out there, really, really good. And as I say, in this country, to win the Euros, done a lot better than the men of recent times. That's not to say, in my opinion, Gareth Southgate done a good job for England.
Yeah, fantastic job, for sure. It's important to recognise that as manager to manager, right? So there's a lot of people saying a lot of negative things about Gareth Southgate and the role he played, but my opinion was that he did an excellent job and took them from where they were to, on the brink of winning, one game away from winning the Euros.
Yeah.
How did you see that as a fellow manager?
I think everyone will think that the Euros I don't think we played well. But from the time Gareth took over to now, in comparison, there's no comparison. Yeah. We was in dire straits. And I think Gareth, I know Gareth and I don't know him well, but I have spoken to him, and I think he's a good person, speaks really well. Everyone's got together, everyone's got behind him. And you can see there's that respect he's got from the players. I think he's done a fantastic job. Didn't quite get over the line to win a major tournament, but from where we were to now, I think he's done an amazing job.
Can you just explain how difficult that actually is as a manager to do what he's done and take the country from where it was when he first took over, nowhere really, struggling, to being almost winning the Euros?
I mean, that must be so much harder for him, because the players that he's actually working with, can you imagine the egos that some of them players have got? That has got to be so tough to manage. And that's where I think he's done ever so well. He's managed them egos. He's never going to get everything right, as none of us do. But on the whole, I think he's done an amazing job. I wish he had won something.
Yeah.
And we can all say, he should have picked this side, he should have picked that side. Everyone's got different opinions in football on players. Harry Kane was getting slaughtered, and maybe he should have left Harry Kane out. But let's be honest, even last week, Harry Kane scores 2 goals. Yeah. If he don't play, we don't win the game. Yeah. So, it's a tough job. There's a lot of players that people say, he's better than him, It's a tough job for him. And like I say, from when he started, 8 years, I think he's been in charge, 8 years. Yeah. I think he's done an unbelievable job. Yeah. And that's good for the next person to take over. That's going to be a tough act to follow.
Yeah, for sure. Really interesting to obviously get a manager's insight on that. Okay, from your, 30, 40 career within the game, illustrious career that you've had as a player and as a manager, what would you say have been your key learnings from football?
Discipline. I think enjoyment, you've got to enjoy it. And I keep saying that, but even at younger, the grassroots, I think if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. Yeah. Simple as that. But I think, discipline has always been a big one for me. That's in life. I think you've got to be disciplined and dedicated. I think they're the things that stand out for me. Yeah. I think that's what they've brought into my personal life, being disciplined and dedicated. They're the biggest things for me.
Amazing. What did you prefer, being a player or a manager?
There's not so much pressure on it as a player. Manager, it's all, the onus is completely on you, and that is tough. So player, I love playing. I still play, or I'm injured. I've got knees a bit sore at the moment, but still looking to play this year in vets football. Played. I actually got a cap over 50s. I should have brought that, you know.
Who was that for?
For 5 England over 50s games I played.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's another achievement that I feel proud of. I played in the 4 Nations, Wales, Ireland, Scotland. We won that. So that was, great achievement. But I want to play I love football. I love football. If I weren't injured at the moment, I'll be playing at weekends now. Now I'm not managing at the moment. So, hopefully got a few more games in me and don't get round the pitch as much as I used to, but can still pass it.
Well, you were still the best player in training when you used to join in at Haybridge.
I don't know about that, and I'm sure the players won't agree with that either.
Incredible. Last couple of questions before we close. What advice, is a bit of an educational section that hopefully our listeners and our viewers can learn a lot from, on top of what you've already shared with us today. What advice would you give to a player who wants to become a professional footballer?
I think I've answered that in a few other questions. I think you've got to work hard and you've got to be dedicated. That the other things they can't control. Having that little bit of luck of being spotted at the right time, because I think you need that luck. Or having a contact. Not everyone's got contacts. So all you can do is have that dedication and do as well as you can to try and make your dream come true. Because it is a dream. There's a lot of young kids, everyone wants to be a pro footballer. And it's that percentage is very, very small.
I think it's 0.05%.
Is it? There
something
you go.
like that.
So, yes, you've got to have that bit of luck, but you've got to make that luck in the fact that you've got to work hard and be the best you can. That's my advice to that.
Excellent. What advice would you give to managers?
Oh, dear. I think the best advice I can give is be yourself from Monday to Monday. If you lose on a Tuesday, it's no good coming in on a Thursday having the hump. And a lot of managers do. I think you have to be yourself. It's like I say, it's no good me having the hump with the players after a defeat on a Saturday, training Monday and not speaking to anyone or having the hump. That's the best advice I can give. Be yourself from Sunday to Sunday, Saturday to Saturday, however you want to do the weeks. But be yourself. It's no good changing your personality because you've lost a game. You've lost the game, it's gone. You've got to go back. Right, we'll go again. That's the best advice I can give. Obviously, look, the way I manage, I'd like to think that I speak to people in the right way, and I think that goes a long way. But for me, that's that. I do that in life anyway. I don't think you get anything out of cups of tea thrown over me and you effing this and effing that. For me, I don't think you get a great response if that happens. So I think speaking to people in the right way, but like I say, try and be yourself.
Interesting saying about be yourself. That's often the 2 words that I actually use with a lot of the players that I work with, and encourage them, be yourself, whatever the situation, whatever's going on, simply be yourself. I think that's really important advice.
Yeah, massively, because I've known managers and I've known players that have had managers where they've lost on a Saturday and on a Monday they're training and they don't speak to them because of the result. Well, I don't understand how they think that they're going to go and perform for them the following Saturday. You listen, if you lose a game, you lose a game. But me not speaking to a player or me publicly coming out and slaughtering a player, I'm getting nothing out of that. I'm never going to get their respect. They're not going to perform for me. So what's the point?
Exactly that. What advice would you give to fans?
Listen, I can give as much advice as you want. They ain't going to listen to me. Look, at the end of the day, win, lose or draw, it's a bit like myself. You've got to get behind the team. It's tough, but again, as a manager or as a fan, if you're hammering the players, and I've seen it, especially in today's day and age, do you think they're going to perform? No, they'll crumble.
Goes the other way.
Of course it does. So, like I say, very rarely they're going to listen because, and fair play, they've all got their own opinions on players, on certain individuals, but if they think that putting a player down, especially while he's playing or on social media, is going to improve their performance, well, they're more deluded than I thought. So, I think positivity.
Yeah.
I mean, as a player, for me, I wouldn't go and say, I don't do social media at all. Because if you're reading something about yourself that's detrimental, that can't be any good.
It's difficult.
Can't be any good for anyone, can it? So,
sure.
Positivity. Get behind the team.
Excellent. Advice to the parents of the players, of the young players that are coming through.
Don't be too pushy. Make sure your son or daughter's enjoying it. And it's about, at that age, depending what age we're talking about, especially at a really younger age, it's about their development, not results.
Yeah.
And again, look, I've watched my boy grow up playing at a younger age, and I'd watch.
Yeah.
And I'd watch. I wouldn't stand there saying, do this, do that. That's the coach. That's down to the coach.
Yeah.
So too many voices, again, can be, I think, detrimental. So just encourage your son or daughter to enjoy what they're doing and listen to the coach. Yeah. That would be my advice.
Excellent. Agents. Advice to agents.
Advice to agents. I mean, for me, there's good agents and there's poor agents. In every walk of life, there's good and bad in everything. So, I mean, I can't believe these 16, 17-year-olds that have got agents nowadays, giving them bad advice. I've had one instance very lately. I won't name the boy, but I think he's had bad advice from an agent. He's only 17 years old. Yeah. Getting trolls left, right and centre up north. Really bad advice for me. He should stay down here, enjoy his football and see where it takes him. But then there's good agents that can do your business for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I look back now and I think I could probably have done what the agent had done, and you're probably in the same boat. Did I need an agent at the time? I don't know. They're only in it for one reason and one reason only, and that's to get their own money.
Hopefully, not all of them are.
Not all of them. Not all of them. But when an agent's got X amount of players, for me, an agent should be also looking at their play, watching them play. That, for me, that's a big thing. some agents don't even know what their player's about, what he's capable. Haven't even seen him play. I'm sorry, that's not right for me.
For sure.
But yeah, there's good and bad in everything, and your dad was a good one.
He was one of the good guys, for sure. Okay, last couple of points. Finish this sentence. I love football because...
It's brought special memories to my life.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And some of them, of course, well, all of them we've shared today, you shared with us today. And just incredible.
Yeah.
And who would you next want to see on the podcast?
So you're asking me who my favourite celebrity is?
No, I don't know if we're able to get them, but who would, a mate of yours or
mate,
or a player, or who would you want to see? I'll do my best to get them on.
I was going to say Lionel Messi. You ain't getting him, are you?
Well, I speak a little bit of Spanish.
I'd love to see you get Freddie Eastwood up here.
Oh, fantastic.
Because he's had a good career.
Yeah.
And he'll have some fantastic stories.
Well, hopefully with your help, we might be able to make that happen.
Freddie, yeah, that'd be a good one. Or Adam Barrett.
Okay.
He'd be good as well.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks, Steve. I just want to thank you so much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Really good. Yeah.
And I mean, you shared some incredible stories, incredible memories, lifetime memories, and some amazing insight and knowledge and wisdom that hopefully, the viewers and the listeners, players, managers, agents, fans will take with them, take forward with them, and help them on their journey as well.
Yeah, it's a tough. Like I say, it's a tough. I think especially on the management side, it's a tough industry now. You've only got to lose 6 or 7 games on the bounce, and all of a sudden you're out of a job. So, and if you don't do your first job well, it's difficult to go and get another job. So it's not an easy industry to be in. But if you're doing well, it's fantastic. You know, there's nothing better, in my opinion.
We wish all the players and managers and everyone out there the very best.
We do indeed.
Good luck. Thanks so much for being on. It's
no problem.
Great to see you as well.
Enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching. It's been great having you here with us. Remember to like, follow and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.